Hi guys, and welcome back to another video Game with the Powers. I'm Jake, and in today's video, I'm bringing you another episode in our Learn and Play series featuring the board game Shuffle Dungeons from Zero Strategy Games. Now, Shuffle Dungeons is a cooperative dungeon style-esque game for 1 to 4 players, ages 12 plus, right around 60 minutes per playthrough. And you're going to be taking on the role of a hero, going through this dungeon, trying to get your way, opening up pathways to try and get to the big bad boss in the middle of the play area and defeat him before the dungeon deck runs out. What's unique about Shuffle Dungeons is the strategic aspect of these dungeon cards that you're going to be using to create pathways of the dungeon. On the flip side of these cards, they all have different things like weapons and equipment and different items or snacks is what they call them, and spells and things like that that you can use. So you're having to have this cool, unique balance of sacrificing these pathway cards to get to the middle of the monster to complete the game, for gaining equipment and weapons and things like that. So it's very unique and very strategic. It's a very entry level and cool deck dungeon crawling, I almost said deck building, dungeon crawling style game. If you guys are not familiar with our Learn and Play series, essentially what I do, guys, is break the game down into 2 distinct parts. The first part of the video, I give an in-depth how to play the game, really giving a whole scope of the game and how to play it, what you're doing on your turns and things like that. In the second part of the video, I play or demonstrate a couple rounds or turns of that particular game so that you can see how it actually plays, hence our Learn and Play tagline. All right, guys, enough chitter chatter from me. Let's go ahead and jump down to the table where we can learn and play Shuffle Dungeons together. All right, guys, we're down here at the table where normally we would have the game already set up, but the setup to Shuffle Dungeons is integral to its actual gameplay. So I want to go over that. The very first thing you're going to want to do, guys, is you are going to want to select a hero to play as. So we have a bunch of different heroes right here that we can select, and I will just take the top 2 heroes from the deck, and then you will need to collect their standees as well. So I have the Scout and the Incinerator. When it comes to these heroes, there's going to be some information on this cards that you are going to need to know. In the top right hand corner is going to be the base attack value of that hero. So the Scout here is going to have a base attack value of 2, and this denotes that she is going to be rolling 1 dice in combat. So whatever that dice roll is, you will add that base attack value to it. In the right-hand corner, she's going to have a health value and then a movement value as well. So 2 health and 2 movement for her. And then in the middle will normally be an ability, but since she is starting out fresh, when she slays her first monster, she will then be able to be flipped over and then gain a level up ability that you can see right here. And you might also notice that her stats have leveled up as well. So she now has 3 health and 3 movement, as well as this ability. So every hero card is going to differ. You can see Mr. Incinerator right here. He's got a base attack value of 1, 2 health, 2 movement, but then when he levels up, he gains 1 more base attack, and then he gets this ability as well. So that's the very first thing that you're going to want to do, is select your hero. The next thing that you're going to do is select a boss monster to play at. So just like heroes, there are a bunch of different boss monsters available to you. So you will look at the back of this boss monster card and look at the number of rooms that is equal to your player count. So we got 2 players. So any boss monster that has 2 rooms to them are the monsters that are available for me to play. So these would be the 2-player version, these are the 3-player bosses, and then these are the 4-player bosses. So I'll take the top card of the 2-player deck and place that down in the middle. All right. The next thing I'm going to do is take all of these dungeon cards here, and I am going to shuffle them up, stick them on this tile, and then I'm going to create a row of 3 dungeon tiles for each player. And the orientation of these dungeon tiles at this particular time is not relevant, because you'll see why in just a second. But you will have a line of 3 tiles coming out from the boss monster in each direction of that door. And then you will have standard or base dungeon room cards, and you will take one of these and you will orient it to where it is facing the room side of that boss monster, just like this. So this should be what a setup looks like of Shuffle Dungeons. You'll then take your heroes and they will start in this starting dungeon room, and then the remaining cards that were dealt out will be taken into your hand. So these 3 cards will be the hand of the scout, and then these 3 cards will be the hand of the incinerator. So eventually your dungeon is going to look something like this. So you can see why the setup is important and critical to the start of Shuffle Dungeons. So now once you have all this, you guys are ready to go. And before I dive into the rest of this playthrough, guys, I want to take a moment to walk you through the 5 different types of dungeon cards that you are going to see. So as I mentioned earlier, each dungeon card is going to be double-sided. So these are going to be used for either to create pathways, okay? Or if you flip them on the other side, you might have weapons, you might have spells, you might have equipment, and you might have monsters. So let's go ahead and walk through each of these 5 dungeon cards that you're going to see throughout the course of a game. The very first one is going to be a monster card, all right? And just like hero cards, your monster cards are going to have very similar values. So they will have a base attack. They will have a number of dice that they're going to roll. They're going to have a health value right here. And they're also going to have a loot value. So this value is you will draw cards from this, oh no, the thing fell off. You will draw cards from the top of this deck and you will place them underneath this monster, and when that monster is defeated, you will gain those loot cards. Also, when it comes to combat, certain monsters are going to deal damage to you based on the number of hearts that are in their cards. So 1 damage for black and then 1 additional for each red. And then some of these might have different abilities as well if they are victorious in combat. Last but not least, each of these monsters are going to have an area of attack. So if you end your turn in one of these red spaces, then you will be in combat with this bear if you have not already initiated combat on your turn. So those are the monster cards that you will encounter throughout the course of the game. And when they are drawn, they will be put out onto the board face up. All right, guys, moving on to the next card you will see is the corridor card. So these are going to be the basic card in the game, the basic room card. On the flip side of these are going to be snacks. So these snacks are going to be one-time use cards. They're going to do a bunch of different things like heal you, give you more dice, add more damage to things like that. So you can either use them as a basic room, or when you flip them on the other side, use them as a basic item, then they will be discarded after use. So those are corridors. The next dungeon card you will encounter is going to be traps. These are pink cards, and whenever you land on a room with a trap, you're going to roll a dice. If your dice value is greater than the value there, you will receive the reward. If not, then you will receive the penalty. And on the flip side of these trap cards are always going to be weapons. Now, when it comes to weapons, they are going to give a base attack value to you, to an additional base attack value. And then depending on if you meet any of these criteria here, you will be able to enhance these weapons to do extra abilities as well. So this thing could gain an extra dice. If you slide, you can roll 1 extra dice, right? If you jump, you can deal 1 extra damage. So these are your trap cards that will always serve as weapon cards. All right, we'll just drop that down there at the bottom. So we've gone over monsters, we've gone over corridors, we've gone over traps. The next one is going to be shrine cards. So when you encounter a shrine card, you will do the special effect that is on that one. So this one says jump to any shrine that is on the board. On the flip side of these shrine cards are going to be spell cards, okay? So spell card on one side, shrine on the other. And the very last card that you are going to encounter in Shuffle Dungeons is going to be ward cards. So ward cards are much like monsters. If you are in that specific area, you can activate the ability that is on that shrine card. But on the reverse side of these shrine cards are going to be equipment cards. And just like weapons, they are going to increase your health. And if you manage to have these different enhancements on them, they will give bonuses as well. So ward cards are going to serve as your equipment. Now each hero can only have one spell, one weapon, and one equipment card attached to them. If they would like to have more, then you're going to have to burn or discard the previous card that you have equipped. So that's the type of dungeon cards that you're going to see throughout the course of the game. Okay, let's talk about what you're going to do on your turn. So they have these nice handy dandy turn order cards. So there's going to be 6 actions you can do on your turn: the play action, the trade action, the move action, the draw action, the use action, and the attack action. Some of these actions you can only use once per turn. Some of these actions will end your turn immediately, and some you can do as many as you would like. So I'm going to slot this right here so you can follow along. So the very first action that you'll be able to do on your turn is the play action. So you can play any number of cards from your hand, either as a room card or as the opposite side, which is either going to be, you know, a snack or an equipment or a weapon, however you would like. So you will obviously, just like most tile laying games, you will need to match up one side with the other so that you can go from room to room. Or if you're playing an equipment card, then you will equip it down into your player area. So that's the very first thing, or not the very first thing, but it's one of the actions you can take on your turn. The next action is the trade action. So you can trade cards with players that are in the same room as you. Very simple and easy. The third action is going to be movement. So you can move up to your speed value, and this movement can be broken up. So you can move into one room, take another action, and then move one more time. The fourth action available to you is the draw action, which can only be taken once per turn, where you will draw cards from the dungeon deck here for the number of open pathways in your room. So an open pathway is something that is like this. So this is open on all 3 sides. So because there's a non-room, there's not a room or anything that is kind of blocking that. So in this particular case, this character would draw 3. If this side was blocked for say, and only these 2 were open, then you would only draw 2. So that is the draw action. The fifth action is use. So use a card's power, and you can only use a card's power once per turn. So that includes your ability if you unlock it, any equipment abilities that you have, any of these snack cards that you have, you know, everything that you can use is only a once per turn. And the very last action you have is attacking a monster. This will end your turn, okay? Or you can choose to end your turn without attacking a monster at any point in time. When it comes to combat, really quickly, guys, everything is done through dice. So you will roll the amount of dice that are on that monster card, and then you will roll the amount of dice that you were supposed to roll, and then you will basically add any of the values on your character or equipment cards, and then you will do the same thing for the monster, and whoever has the higher value is the winner. Now, a player will win all ties. So that is pretty much how you are going to play Shuffle Dungeons. All right, guys, now what I'm gonna do really quickly is take you through a couple turns so you can see how gameplay is going to flow. So we'll start with the scout over here. The very first thing that we're gonna do is draw. So let's draw 3 cards from the top of the deck, and let's combine them into our hand, and then let's see what we got. Her Hustle Bubble. Okay, so we don't want to keep that. We can play that card. Change 1 roll die to any number. That's pretty good. We might keep that. Shifting Shield. We'll want to go ahead and play that and equip that. Alrighty. Health Potion. Let's save that. Trailblazer Biscuits. Build the top 2 cards from the deck anywhere on the map. And another health potion. Let's get rid of this And let's keep these Trailblazer Biscuits. Okay, so we're gonna keep these 3 cards. We're gonna play, we played our shield, all right, which gives us 3 more health. And then we're gonna play both of these cards. Let's play this card here. And then let's have this card go here. And that is going to be our play action, right? So we've done the play action and we can do that multiple times, but we're done with the play action. We don't need to trade. Let's go ahead and move. So we can move 2 spaces. So we will move into this room right here. We don't want to use any of our cards. And then what we're going to do now is just end our turn. So that is the scout player's turn. Let's go over to incinerator. Again, we're going to draw right off the rip. So 1, 2, and 3. And let's see what cards he has. Double-edged sword. We're going to want that immediately. That's going to give us 3 bonus attack. We got a protector's shield. Oh yeah, we are juiced up. Okay, so we'll equip both of those. Swap your room with a monster next to you. We don't care about that. Loot any number of empty rooms next to you. We don't care about that. Hustle bubblegum. Let's get rid of that. And swole strike. When a hero wins a combat, deal 1 extra damage. Let's keep that. Okay, so let's play these 3 cards. So let's play up top here. And then let's go here. Ooh, actually, let's go here for number 2. Let me get rid of that little hair that's on there. All right. And then let's drop down here. And actually, this should be somewhere in the middle. So there should only be 3 separating. So sometimes this can get shifted. So 1, 2. Yeah, so technically this should be here. And then I'd have to move that over, and I'll move that over when 1, 2, no, should be 1 more. I was right. So 3 should be there. Okay. So that's his turn. Let's go ahead and move. Ooh, actually, we don't want to move. Let's stay where we're at. Well, actually, yeah, because we need to draw cards. We're fine. 1, 2. Let's move 2 spaces and end our turn. So back over to this player. Now let's go ahead and draw 2 cards and see what we get. We get a health potion, roll 1 extra die. We like that. So 1 extra die, keep, heal. Let's use this. So Trailblazer Biscuits, build the top 2 cards from the deck anywhere on the map. All right, top 2 cards from the deck. Ooh, and we do have a monster. A monster has come out. So let's build this one anywhere on the map. Shift a room in this area 1 space. Let's build that there. And then the monster has to go here. We'll put the monster here. And we have the Troll Twins. Okay, so we need 2 cards tucked underneath the Troll Twins. And he will face that way. All right, he is facing this way. And that was our Trailblazer Biscuits. Okay, so what else do we have? Another health potion, change 1 roll die. Let's play this. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so he should be right here. Okay, let's play that. And then we could almost get to the boss this turn. Let's see. Let's get to the boss. That's 1 extra attack die. That heals or prevents 3 damage. Let's do that. Let's show you what the boss would look like. Okay, so we now have a room that is connected to a boss. So when a room connects to a boss, we are flipping this boss monster over. Now the boss is going to look very similar to a lot of the monster cards, except this boss is going to have a flip effect. And this flip effect says burn all empty corridors. Sheesh. So this boss monster would flip. Empty corridors is this. We're burning all of this. We are burning, let's say I move 2 spaces. So we would burn this and we would burn all of these. So all of these empty corridor spaces are gone. Now, this particular circumstance, we are still in proximity to the Lunar Fox. So we will have to initiate combat. So at the end of our turn, we're initiating combat. The Lunar Fox rolls 2 dice. We are going to play some cards. So let's play roll 1 extra dice. and then we can change one roll die to any number, which we will, so we get 1 dice standard, 1 extra dice. We're gonna roll all these dice and I'll change one of those dice to a 6. So this 1 will get changed to a 6. So I have a 6 and a 4. We have a 5 and a 1. Whew. So that is 13. So the Lunar Fox has 13. We have 10. Oh, that's brutal. 11, 12. I am at 12. So I have lost, okay? In this particular circumstance, we are taking 1 damage for the black. Okay, we are taking a 1 damage to the red, and it says deal damage to heroes not in a shrine. And so then this guy, I'm assuming, will take some damage as well on his protector shield. Now, if you have equipment, guys, the damage will go on your equipment first, and then once that equipment is destroyed, then you will take damage on your character. So that's kind of a little preview of how combat would work and how some of the turns will flow. The last thing I want to talk about is how do you win the game and how does the game end? So the game is going to end when either the players defeat the boss monster in the middle, they will be victorious. The players lose when this dungeon deck is emptied out, okay? And the way this dungeon deck is gonna get emptied out is obviously by you filling the dungeon and drawing cards, but whenever your hero is defeated, you will need to burn 5 cards from the top of this deck, and then your hero just kind of jumps right back into battle. He gets knocked out and comes back alive, but that is the lose condition when this dungeon deck runs out. All right, guys, well, look, that is a learn and play of the board game Shuffle Dungeons by Zero Strategy Games. All right, guys, well, look, if you enjoyed this content, smash that like button, hit that notification bell, drop down in the comments below. Have you guys heard of Shuffle Dungeons, and what do you think about this cooperative dungeon crawler? Last but not least, if you are not subscribed to our channel, please go ahead and subscribe so we can keep bringing you some more awesome content. All right, guys, y'all have a great one. Bye.